The Millionaire's Mindset, Facing Your Fires, Part 2. Using your enemies as your elevation, your haters to take you higher, your distractors as your determination, their fire your fuel. In this lesson, Part 2 of Facing Your Fires, we want to talk about how to use your enemy as your elevation. See, one of the greatest things, a lot of times, a lot of successful people say that they made it because they was told they couldn't make it. Les Brown, one of the greatest orators of all time, said that he was labeled as a slow kid, as a kid who wasn't supposed to be educatable. And from that fire, from being told that he wasn't supposed to be who he is. Can you imagine Les Brown, had he believed the negativity and the naysayers? He did believe it. Someone had to pull him out. Somebody had to lift him up and say, man, you're not limited to anyone else's opinion of you. And I want to give you that encouragement today. Facing Your Fires, Part 2, Elevation Through Your Enemies. Going higher from the hate. Taking their distractions, their dung, and using it as your determination and your drive. When you can learn, see the whole natural process, right? The way everything is actually made from to recycle and to regenerate and to renew. Think about how this universe works. Think about how this world works. When something dies, it's buried in the ground, right? And it breaks into a bunch of different pieces. The worms eat on it. Different things feed. Plants feed off of it. Different things feed off of it. From death, newness comes. I want you to think about your enemies. I want you to think about the people who are spending their energy hating you. I want you to think about the people who are trying to hold you back. First of all, there's a why. What is their motive? Right? There are some people who will hate you just because they're hateful. You have enemies who are simply evil. There's nothing you can do to pacify them. You can't be good enough. Ask Jesus. You cannot be good enough that they would spare your life. So I want to encourage you to live your best life in spite of. I want you to live your best life. Go get to your goals. Live your dreams off of your enemy's energy. When I was learning martial arts, one of the things that we learned from martial arts was really interesting. It's how a small person like Bruce Lee can take down a big person. And he does it by taking the big person's energy and using it to his benefit. When you go to attack Bruce Lee, when you throw your arm or throw that fist to hit him, to hurt him, he literally would take that arm that you slung at him. He would twist out the weight, grab your arm, and use your momentum that's coming at him. He would use it with him, add his energy with it, and boom, now you're on the ground. Big person on the ground, facing some serious situation because Bruce Lee was pretty tough. The same concept is what I want to teach you here today. The world is set up, the biological death becomes life. The feces, the dung becomes the food to generate new life, right? By being buried, you live. By going into darkness, you see light. Diamonds are created from pressure and from heat. immense pressure, immense heat. From that, what would have been mere coal, a diamond is formed. See, some people, your enemies, had they left you alone, you might just be a regular person. You might would have been content to just be a regular Joe Blow or a Sally Sue. But because your enemy insists and they share with you their energy, their bile, their venom, once you learn to use that for your benefit, once you learn to use their foolishness for your fuel, their feces for your fuel, their, waters. Once you start, you know how sometimes people want to pee on you? Yeah, yeah. They want to douse your flame. Once you learn to use all of that for your gain, once you learn that your enemy is your opportunity to rise, because it comes from a fear of something. You have to understand, when someone looks at you, they see who you're supposed to be. You ever wonder why, man, this girl just hates me? From the day she met me, right? You're a young lady, or and you just trying to figure out why this person just hate me, and now she got a whole gang of people just hate me and calling you bad names in school or at the job or college, whatever. Why? Don't know you, never met you, don't know anything about you, but her spirit perceived your spirit. And unfortunately for her, her spirit perceived that she was less than you. That if she didn't try to tear you down, if she didn't try to put marks on you. See, sometimes you will come across people in life where the only way they can see us eye to eye is if they bring us down to their level. And you may not even realize that you are above them. You may not think you are above them. Les Brown, bless his heart, he didn't think he was above anybody. Somebody else saw in him and told him, never limit yourself to someone else's opinion of you. And I just love him. He's awesome. I met him in person. He put his hands on my shoulder and told me that I was special, and I believe him. You better believe I believed you, Mr. Les Brown. Yes, sir, I do. And I'm passing that on to you guys. There is a way to take your enemy's energy, and use it for your gain. It's a way to take their bile, their dung, their feces, and make it your fuel. And you say, well, and here's the reason why it's important to learn how to do that, because it's going to come anyway. If somebody's going to throw feces at you, if somebody's going to try to bury you in the ground, if somebody's going to try to pour their wasteful waters on you, wouldn't it be awesome if you simply used the natural law of rejuvenation and regeneration and use that for your good? Wouldn't that be crazy how somebody tries to bury you, and by burying you and then fertilizing you with their feces and then watering you with their wastewater, by doing so, they're actually fueling you? Think about what the farmer does. The farmer plants a seed into the darkness of the ground. He plants around that seed fertilizer, aka cow manure, chicken manure, different forms of manure, from which comes nitrate, oxides, urea, other things that actually will feed that seed. Right? Does the seed want to be buried in the ground? No. The seed, if it had a choice, would not choose to be buried. It would not choose to be buried in the midst of feces. It would not choose to have the waters pouring down on it, constant rain on it. It would not choose to be placed in the darkness. But The law of rejuvenation and renewal and renaissance says that the further you go down, the higher you go up. That's something your enemy is not realizing. That's something your distractors are not paying attention to. That's something your haters hadn't heard. Was that literally by compressing you, by pushing down on you. You ever push down on a full volleyball or a ball on water? The more you push down on that ball, the harder it is for you to hold that ball down, and the faster and more powerfully it jumps up. Think about the world's tallest buildings, the highest skyscrapers are actually the deepest into the ground. Matter of fact, the first thing that they have to do is go deep into the ground, because without going down and giving it that foundation first, when it comes up, it won't stand. Your enemies are preparing you to stand forever. I learned this. I had to learn this the hard way. I'm trying to, once you see it and once you can appreciate what it is, you can almost, you almost want haters. You almost want enemies. Because you know that that little rubbing, that little roughness every now and then. See, we can get to a point of success. We can get to a point where we think we've made it. And that little hit, that little roughness comes. And all it does is refine us. All it does is remind us to keep working, keep pushing, keep thriving, right? It's not there to break you. Their intention is to break you. Of course it is. But the intention of the higher power, the one who made you, is not that it would break you, but that it would help make you. See, as a parent, I'm not a great parent if I just give my children everything from their father's successes they benefit. If I just say, okay, well, here's a Rolls Royce for you and a Lamborghini for you and a mansion for you and a mansion for you, and they don't do any work for it. If I don't let some pain, let some trial, let some tribulations, let some roughing up happen. We don't want our children to have fights in school. We don't want them to have fights on the playground. We don't want them to have disagreements. We want them to be happy. We don't want them to cry. We don't want them to have heartache and heart pain break. But if we do not allow them just a taste, just like we take shots to immunize us, right? Those shots are just a pinch of this disease or that disease, right? Hoping that you're strong enough to recover from it and be stronger. Likewise, learn to use your enemy's energy for your benefit. That salt is the seasoning. That hate, I posted something the other day, social media. I posted something the other day. And here's the problem of life. It was 50-1 positive. 50-1. 8 people said something negative. They took the time to comment. 400 people saw it. Only one person gave it a positive comment. 400 people saw it and benefited from it. 8 people said something negative. And unfortunately, what we do is we look at the negative. Oh my God, somebody didn't like what I said. And I had to remind myself that those 8 people blessed me more than the 400 that liked it but didn't say anything. And that's a problem. The good doesn't speak up. They're too passive, right? There are a lot of things that you should speak up about, but you're being passive about it. Silence is failure. But once I internalized the 8 people's negative, now of course they were totally wrong. But once I accepted it and accepted their energy and said I would use it towards making myself even more excellent. Infinite improvement is the goal. Infinite improvement is the goal. And our reminders that we haven't reached that. highest goal, our highest potential comes from our haters and our enemies. My first response was to, I wanted to respond defensively. I wanted to respond, showing my colors and peacocking and all of this. But God blessed me. He blessed me to say, no. Peacocking is not necessary. I know who you are and you know who you are, right? And I know where you live and what you drive. So peacocking to lesser people is not necessary. Peacocking to people who you think are better people is not necessary. What's necessary is to learn to use the hate to go higher, your enemy towards your excellence, your detractors towards your determination. Facing the Fire, Part 2. The image that you see on the screen is of somebody just cruising through, right? Walking casually. Now, can you imagine just somebody throwing Molotov cocktails at you and you on full blaze, right? So you would think they would be happy because you're on full blaze, you're on fire. But your response is, hey, everything's cool. Yeah, no problem, right? That's why I like this picture, because it is how, once you learn to cruise through, thrive through the hate, thrive through the pains, thrive through the challenges, thrive through the tests, once you learn to face that fire with your own ferociousness, you won. You won. You won. Once you learn to face that fire with your own ferociousness, you have already won. One last thing I'll say is I was talking to my children about being boxing and martial arts and all of this stuff. And one of the things I remember about boxing, I remember very succinctly, the hardest punch I ever took, square to the face, square. I still have a little indentation on my nose. The guy hit my flesh into the bone of my nose and the scar is still there. It was a stunning hit. I mean, literally stunning, as in stopped me, my eyes wide open. I was very young then. Here's what I remember most about it, and here's what I teach my children. It wasn't the punch to the face that meant anything. What meant something was their father. I was still standing right there in front of the guy after the punch in the face. He hit me with his best shot, caught me as square as a boxer can catch somebody to the face. Square, pure. But his problem was, I was still standing. I was still standing. And not only was I still standing there and stunned for a second, but more importantly, after I realized I was still standing, now it's time. It's party time. It's party time now, right? Because I've taken your best shot. I took his best shot. He and I both knew that was his best shot. And I was still standing, which means now it's my turn. Facing your fires. Don't worry about their shot. Take their best shots and walk through the fire just like this person on this illustration. When you've taken people's best shot and you realize that, okay, and you've learned to use it for your own fuel, you've learned how to master letting your enemy be your elevation, your hater take you higher, your detractor give you your determination. When you've learned these things and mastered them to where all of their waste is your win, oh my goodness. It's life altering because it changes the way you think. The Millionaire's Mindset. I'm Odell DeVay. Hopefully this has been a great motivation for you. Have an awesome day and be awesome. Thrive through facing your fires.